Hello, hello. This is the first episode of the Donbozos podcast, a podcast where two random college students talk about Pokemon card game, Pokemon TCG, Valorant, League of Legends, and TFT. My name is Aiden, and I'm joined by my good friend and co-host Jeremy.
Dude,
Jeremy, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Excited to start the podcast.
Yep. Did you do anything, or did you wake up like 30 minutes ago?
I definitely woke up 30 minutes, maybe not even 30 minutes ago.
It is currently 1:30 p.m. Well, on the other hand, I finished my League of Legends promos into Diamond, and I won them 2-1. It was
That's what
actually quite rough. The first game was actually really easy, but then the second game, I kind of ran it down on Lee Sin, and then third game I got autofilled, but I played it to the best that I could have, and we won out, so that was really fun. I hope everyone is having a great time either watching on YouTube or listening in for the Spotify listeners. And you could find us here on YouTube, or you can follow us on Spotify. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at the Donbozos Podcast. So please, if you guys like to support this podcast, go ahead and the links will be in the description. Now, the first episode, we're going to be touching on pretty much all of the games that this podcast is going to cover. It'll be a weekly podcast, and what we'll be talking about is for Pokemon, we're going to have our recurring segment, Local Recap, where we talk about what happened in the week for local tournaments. We'll also be talking about the most recent tournaments, Charlotte Regional, as well as a championship in Korea, which should be pretty good. We'll have a segment that we hope to be a reoccurring segment. What is he cooking? This will be a segment where we find the most random Pokemon card lists out there and compare them and see who is cooking harder. And we will be doing some fun mini games for that you can find later on our YouTube Shorts. And for League of Legends, we will be doing a patch rundown. Now, we're not going to talk about the whole patch. There are people out there that do patch rundown, but we'll talk about our favorite parts of the patch, and we will also be choosing our favorite balance changes for the patch. That's basically the patch rundown. We will be talking about what we think about Milio, as well as doing a small skin review, and LCS playoffs just started. They have been a week in, and we're going to be talking about what happened and what we think about the current LCS standings. Going into team fight tactics, we'll just be talking about our new favorite unit and trait since 8.5 just came out on Wednesday. It is currently Monday, March 27th. And for Valorant, we'll be talking about Gecko, and we'll be doing a skin review on one of their newest collections, Oni 2.0. Before we get started, Jeremy, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
I think you covered it pretty well there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just keep in mind, Jeremy's internet is kind of scuffed, so he might cut out a couple times. Just bear with us. We are broke college students, so all right. So we're gonna go ahead and jump straight into our local recap. It is 3 to 4 weeks before the new Scarlet and Violet base set comes out, which means we actually didn't go to too many locals. Instead, we went to very, very many pre-releases to try and get a hold of some new cards and experience the new set for all of us, because I only started playing in Brilliant Stars, so I haven't actually had a new format before. And Jeremy, what do you think about the pre-releases? Did you have fun?
Yeah, I had a great time in pre-release. It's just that playing Palma 3 tournaments in a row might have been not the most diverse experience. That deck is super good though. I really enjoy playing it. It's pretty, but I wish I kind of some other decks to play with
Yep.
too.
And I have the cards pulled up here for the YouTube watchers. We're going to be talking about the 4 pre-release cards you could get and how good they were, and maybe how good they could be in the future. So we're going to start with Quaquaval, or Quaquaval. I really don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry, guys. This Pokemon was pretty cool in pre-release. It's a stage 2 from the water starter. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Now, that's not bad, but for stage 2, I feel like this is just kind of like a scuffed deluge. You know what I'm saying? And I know we're getting
Yeah.
kind of like a rain dance or deluge Pokemon later that's a stage 2, so I don't see any reason to use this one over deluge, maybe besides that it attaches a different any energy. But still, this card was still kind of good to use, but it wasn't the greatest.
Yeah, for Quackquavel, I feel like it's pretty much only good in pre-release when you open your favorite EX and you can just shove the Quackly line to energy accelerate to it, but that's pretty much all it does.
Yeah, getting this one, I don't know anyone who's excited about it besides any like Quaxley fans from Sword and Shield. But as competitive players, this card isn't going to be too good. I did get to use like the non-pre-release version, right? Because the build and battle kits come with decks. But yeah, this card probably I would say the worst out of the four in terms of what you can get for the future.
Yeah, although like it's probably not the worst in pre-release format, it's definitely not gonna be used in standard, so it's probably like the one you're least excited to pull.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We're gonna go into the Reva Room, probably my favorite card out of the pre-release format because you just deck out with it every time. Its ability, it's a stage 1, 140 HP Steel type. Its ability, Rumbling Engine. You may discard, or you must discard an energy card from your hand in order to use this ability. And if you use it once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have 6 in your hand. So kind of like a Crobat for discarding an energy. How do you feel about this card? Let me ask you, how do you feel about this?
I actually have like no experience playing with this. It was funny that they gave us a 1-2 line of this if you open the kit. I
Well,
used it once. I feel like it was always prized, so yeah.
well, it was a 1/1 line in the decks. It's just that if you pull the pre-release, then it's like a +1 card, so it's like a
Yeah.
1/2 line. So yeah, I feel like this card has uses. I feel like there's a lot of better draw out there, but again, it's like kind of like a Babero where you can use multiple if you want to set up multiple. The attack isn't too good though. It's for 4 energy, so 1 metal, 3 colorless. Flip a coin if this attack is 90 more damage for a total of 180. But again, you have to flip that coin. So I would say this would be like maybe like a 1/1 line you would have in your deck, or maybe even like a 2/2 line. Um, just it's yeah, I feel like it's okay for a draw engine, but I feel like there's better draw engines out there in the post rotation format.
Yeah, there's definitely better support. Although it would be good to run with something like Metal Saucer if it didn't rotate. You just discard your energy and you draw a card, but unfortunately, Metal Saucer rotates after, so
Yeah, maybe when
we'll
Super
be
E
able to
Retrieval comes back.
yeah. Yeah, we have tons of energy discard. We draw tons of cards, and then we have a lot of energy with Super Heal.
Yeah, but I would say this was really fun to use in pre-release because one of the issues with pre-release is getting draws out, but at the same time you deck out super fast. Well, I had a 2/2 line because I pulled another Varoom, and I decked out in 4 turns because I also had 2 researches.
You know, the turbo.
All right, moving on. Probably the goat of pre-release format. We
Let's
have the
go.
Paw Mott. This thing is so incredibly strong, and it could have if Lost Box wasn't a thing, it could have potential in post row. Its ability, it's it's a stage 2, 130 HP, so not that big. But for ability Electrogenesis, once during your turn, you may search for a basic Lightning Energy and attach it to this Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. So it's like whatever. But the thing about this, I guess the thing about what made Palmot so strong is it has free retreat. And the reason is so if you have like 3 Palmots on, you use Electrogenesis, you can use all of them, charge them yourself up. The first one attacks, you discard all the energy from this Pokemon. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, its attack is Electro Pause. It is 2 lightning, 1 colorless, and it does 230 damage, and the effect is discard all energy from this Pokemon. So yeah, so the fact that Palma has free retreat, you can swing for 230, which one shots everything in pre-release format unless they get like a Gardevoir EX, like a stage 2 out. Um, and you basically just retreat into another Palma that's charged up and swing with that. And it was probably it's probably the strongest pre-release card you could get, maybe besides an EX.
Yeah. Palma is definitely really broken. Even against some EXs, I might say like pulling another Palma might be better than pulling an EX. I just first day I ran basically a 4-4-4 line, and all I did was just play Palma beatdown. It one shots every EX, it one shots every basic, and I just ran like 17 electric energies. So you can just never run out energies in your deck, and you just perma charge it, and you just one shot everything in the format. It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, this thing is super fun. And especially if you pull something like the pencil sharpener, was it the
Yeah,
electric generator?
electric generator.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
thing. You could just be flying with Palmot and like you get some rare candies. But yeah, Palmot definitely the goat of the pre-release format, and it'd be fun to use a deck with it. You just used like a 4-4-4 line of Palmot and like run 4 electro generators, like 20 lightning energy, and just start churning. Like I would play a deck like that if Lost Box wasn't a thing in the format. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, very fun card. If you guys ever decide to do a pre-release in the next week, because I think pre-releases are still going on, or if you ever decide that you want to build a fun rogue deck, I really recommend Palmot. It is super fun, and yeah, the Pikachu clone really coming out in clutch.
Yeah, honestly, the card's not that bad. We might struggle a little bit with Palma, but maybe you can accelerate it with like Miraidon and like pencil sharpeners, and in the standard deck, it might be fast enough to knock out some decks. Maybe a fun rogue deck.
For sure. All right, we're gonna move on to the last one, probably the most useless one in pre-release, but probably the best one for post-rotation format. We have the Halucha. And Halucha is a fighting type. It is only 70 HP. It is a basic, but its ability Flying Entry. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, during your turn, you may choose 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon and put 1 damage counter on each of them. And yeah, we already both know what we're thinking. We've played tested with it. Man, what deck is this good in, Jeremy?
It is good in Lost Box, especially in the mirrors.
Absolutely. Now, we know that a lot of Lost Box variants ran the Galarian Zigzagoon from what is it? From Shining Fates, right?
It's from Sword and Shield base. Yeah.
Sword and Shield base, and then there's also Shining One and Shining Fates. And
Yep.
what
Yeah.
Galarian Zigzagoon would do is when you play it from your hand onto your bench, you may choose one of their Pokemon, one of your opponent's Pokemon, and put 1 damage counter. So Halucha basically doubles that, except it's only a bench Pokemon. But what makes Halucha so strong is that a lot of Lost Box games are decided based on how much damage you're putting out. And Sableye, when it uses its Lost Mind, and you can spread 12 damage counters, when your opponent has 2 Comfeys out, which they normally do now that there's no scoop up net when post rotation comes, you could Lucha ping 2 of the Comfies and get a double knockout with Sableye, which is it's just so insane. Like, I don't know, just thinking about it is so nasty. Like, this Pokemon is gonna be one of the best. I think it is gonna be the best card coming out of the pre-release, the 4 pre-release cards. It's gonna be the best one. We're gonna see the most play out of the 4 for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be really good in a lot of decks, especially these red decks, like especially Sableye. He can just hit exactly 140 to kill 2 Comfeys with it. So yeah, definitely gonna be most played at least for now. We don't, in the future maybe the other ones
Yeah, maybe
have
Palma.
some
Maybe
need
someone
support,
does
but
make up a ride on Palma deck and they just start swinging. You know, we don't
yeah,
know. We don't
maybe.
know.
Maybe. But yeah, initial thoughts, Halucha does seem like the best right now.
I think I'm gonna make a Palma deck because I want to just have a for fun deck. So when we like play with our friends who are casually playing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, definitely. To play with some newer players, some more casual, maybe when we have fun with some casual decks, when we want to take a break from some meta, yeah, we can play some Palmets. That card is pretty fun and pretty
yeah.
strong.
Okay, so that's gonna cover it for our local recap. I will be going to a local tomorrow, so next week on the podcast episode, I could talk about that local recap. But yeah, we are still in standard for 3 more weeks, and I'm trying to make it fun for myself. I'm going to probably bring an Ice Rider Calyrex to my local. It's gonna be Calyrex Palkia. There's a lot of funny text. I have a Phoebe for the Gudra V-Star and the V-Guard Energy for the Lugia matchup to try and, get those one-hit knockouts because that's what makes Calyrex strong. And I know, Jeremy, you're still playing Arceus Tina.
Always have.
But you have some funny decks out there. I know you have a Dragapult deck and some other ones, which are pretty cool. But yeah, we're trying to make standard fun for ourselves. I've been playing, recently I was playing Comfy Tina, and then before that, I was just playing Arcpika because I didn't want to think after San Diego Regional. So, yeah, that's going to be it for our local recap. Jimmy, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'm just also trying to make some fun decks to play with. I'm working on a Ho deck right now, and I'm taking the shell of a Turbo Dialga deck and trying to make it work to maybe turbo out the Ho's, use them for some plays, do something cool with it. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. All right, everyone listening, we will be going into our next section. We're still going to be on Pokemon TCG, so if you want to hear if you're here for League of Legends, Valorant, or Teamfight Tactics, you can go ahead and skip through the podcast. But we're going to be moving into our tournament recap, which is we're going to start with Charlottesville. And oh man, what are your first thoughts on not Charlottesville, just Charlotte? Sorry, I get confused. What are your first thoughts on the Charlotte Regional, Jeremy? I want to hear what you have to say.
That is indeed an interesting top eight. I just saw that Eternus won against Reggie Gigas in the finals. I'm super surprised that there's not a Lugia in the finals first. I
Yeah.
expected just to see Lugia straight.
So
Only Lugia.
congratulations to Aiden, not me, another Aiden, playing Eterninus VMAX with the infamous Galarian Wheezing. And I'm looking at the list here, and it's pretty standard, Jeremy. It's 3-3 Etern, 4-3 Weezing, 4 Crobat. We got 2 of the Galarian Zigzagoons, 1 Hisuian Sneasler, and just because we hate Mew, 1 Drapion V in an all dark deck. And here's what I found interesting. I didn't know this, but 7 darkness, 7 dark energy, and then only 1 hiding dark. I thought they would run more, but it makes a lot more sense because they're actually running 3 Temple of Sinnoh, which is pretty big. So the trainer count, 4 Marty, 3 Judge. So a lot of hand disruption. You have two Boss, 1 Serena for your Gus options. They also have, Jeremy, they also have the 1 Echoing Horn. That's what I really like. The 1 Horn, I don't know what they would use in that matchup. Maybe the bench locks like a Lugia player, or to, I don't know. I feel like the Horn is super weird in Eternatus. Obviously, he won, and obviously he probably used it in a lot of strong matchups. But this is, yeah, and then you have 3 Temple, 1 Paracel, 2 Force Seal, 1 Boost Shake, 1 Switch, 2 Rope, 2 Dark Patch, and then a 4/4 line of Quick and Ultra Ball. Well, what are your first initial thoughts on this Eternatus deck?
For the Echo Horn, I love Echoing Horn. It's such a fun card to play with. You can mess up your opponent's benches. You can, if your opponent does have, if your Reggie opponent does have a scoop up net, you can just run the double, have them force them have 2 of the same Reggies on the bench, and they can't use their ability. And yeah, I think Eternus is pretty cool. I wanted to play it, but unfortunately, I can't find the cards. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll test
It's
this maybe next week.
it's so funny
One
because
last final.
before Lugia, like each heard is cringe, and I was like, all right, because Lugia is like the ultimate cringe.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah, people,
I
yeah,
mean, this is like,
definitely, people definitely don't like playing
I think
against
this is a pretty
Weaving, but
standard Etern list. I think what made Etern win is that people kind of I guess I wouldn't say forgot about it, but it's kind of like a matchup where you can't really prep for, because it's like it's Etern, right? It's like who's bringing Etern? But then again, Etern, I think you also have to get good hands. I think if you get good hands with Etern, it's pretty good. But the thing about Eternatus is you have 4 Crobats, so it's pretty easy to get good hands. But yeah, I mean, congratulations to Aiden for winning Charlotte Regional. I hope he plays some other cool decks. Probably not. Probably gets sick of the Etern for, I think this is 1 or 2 more NA events. I'm not too sure. But we're gonna go into the second, third, and fourth place. We're gonna go into the second place. Charlie, congratulations on getting finalist with Reggie's. And this is a pretty standard Reggie deck. Except he's running one of the bad Aleki and one of the bad Drago. What do you have to say about that one?
well, I'm not sure about the bad Drago because I actually haven't tested this card at all. But I honestly don't mind the bad Lucky, and
Well,
it has 2 energy lotto in this.
yeah, 2 Elato. We have a a Reggie player at locals in Fremont. His name is Jason. People call him Dave. He was trying to convince us about the Elato, how it's pretty good for the going second. Because it's kind of like a minus. It's kind of like a -2 cards. Like you're playing with the 58 card deck, because you can just Elato. It could just be an energy, and then you research, right? Then you're thinking a card out of your deck, and it's really good for the donk. But when you talk about the bad Drago, what Jason told me about the bad Drago is it kills any random V, because it hits for 240. So if you want to
Yeah,
donk any random V, you use the bad Drago. So it's for, yeah, any matchup with the V. You can just use bad Drago, which is pretty cool. But I don't know which V you're donking besides, like, I don't know, Arceus, I guess Mew. But Mew you can donk with the other Reggies, but you have to get belts. I guess that works. But like Lugia, you can hit with the Lecky. Arceus, you can hit with the Rock. Etern, you can also hit with the Rock. So I'm just not sure which V he would like to use the Drago for. But it's still cool nonetheless to use the Reggie Drago. I do like it when people kind of, use a little bit of, I guess, tech in their deck. But look at their trader count. Their trader count is just like the most standard trader count. He's running the 4 scoop up net version, which I do like. The 4 path, the 3 belt, 1 rope, 1 heavy ball, and he has the 4 research for Marnie, and then the 1 Serena, 1 boss for the Gus, and 2/2/2 for the other Reggies. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty standard Reggie deck. He probably played extremely well. Been practicing it for a while. So congratulations to Charlie for getting second place at the Charlotte Regional. Any thoughts on the Reggie deck, Jeremy?
No, I think it's a pretty solid list and pretty solid deck. It's just that it takes someone who's really good at the deck to do well with it.
Yeah. Because for me, like I see Reggie as a pretty linear deck, but after seeing Jason play some rounds, it can get pretty. You can do some pretty insane stuff. But yeah, Reggie's going ahead and taking the second, and then third, Justin Bakari. Haven't seen this guy's name in top 8 for a while. He brought in the third place with the Lost Box. This is going to be the Aerodactyl V Star, probably the best Lost Box I've ever seen. This just gets me so hyped because we have a guy at our locals. His name is Nick. When he first came to our locals like a month ago, he brought Ho-Oh V, and then he brought this Luxray VVAX deck, and now he's playing Lost Box, and he's like, I want to run Aerodactyl V-Star. And he finally could deck something that made top 8 at regional. This is probably one of the best Lost Box decks I've ever seen. He's running kind of like the Zool Force, kind of like the Zool list with the Fast Zero Aura and the Dragonite V, but he's not running the Sky Seal Stone. He's actually running 2 of the Forest Seal Stones, which is pretty damn neat. And yeah, what do you have to say about this deck? I need to hear your thoughts.
This is a super interesting Lost Box list. Normally, don't Crobat do the minions. You normally just have to rely on your home face to see consistency. So it's super cool. And Aerodactyl V is a
Cool
it does
card.
win matchups.
Cool card.
It does win games.
It's to win some matchups, and if no one knows, if anyone listening doesn't know what Aerodactyl V-Star is, it's a V-Star power is Ancient Star. Until this Pokemon leaves play, it gains an ability that has the effect your opponent's Pokemon V in play, except any Aerodactyl V-Star, have no ability. So basically, it's kind of like a path locked on a Pokemon. And what this stops is it stops like Muse from doing anything. It stops Lugia V-Star from doing anything. And again, you only use it for certain matchups and if you're going first, because it is an attack. For anyone that is listening in, it is an attack. So it will end your turn and the Pokemon will be stuck inactive. So you have to make sure it's your first in the game and you have to make sure that they can't do something about it. So maybe you have to judge them or Marnie them in the beginning. But since it is Lost Box, you can't do that. So you just have to kind of go off, I guess, in a sense, and just hope that you lock them out. But yeah, he's running the 1-0 Aura, the not the Rapture, the Vivid Voltage one, and then the Dragonite V, which is of course is good into the Reggies. It's your Shred for Ice Q. And then the Drapion is, of course, for the Mew matchup and any Mewtwo V Union control players that are deciding to come out. And then did you find this interesting? The one Crobat in Lost Box?
Yeah, the Crobat. Yeah, definitely. That's a lot of the cards. Crobat, Comfey, you're definitely going to see a lot of cards.
The mini onto guarantee Colress.
Yeah, I wonder how good the Crobat is, though, because I feel like your hands are generally pretty big with the Comb Face and everything, so I'm not sure if you can find that much value with the Crobat.
Yeah, and you have like the Battle Wave piece, which doesn't activate Crobat.
Yeah.
And only the two. It's 2 Quick Ball, 2 Ultra Ball. So ways to thin out the hand, but still, it is very interesting. It definitely is a, I guess, slower way to like get Lasso cards out, but you have more tech for that, right? He has no scoop up nets. And oh no, he's 4. I see that. I'm blind. He does have 4 scoop up nets. 2 switch card. Are those his only switching cards? Is the 4 scoop up and the 2 switch cards? There's no ropes. No.
There's 3 ropes in there.
3 ropes? Okay, I see it.
3 ropes and 2 switch cards.
Yeah, only 9 energy though. Only 9 energy. That.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
I mean.
Yeah.
I feel like you can just play slower with the Aerodactyl V-Star. You have time to like play slower in this deck, so you just lock your opponent out. You have some more time to set up your own stuff. So, and you can also attack with the Aerodactyl. It's not bad. 120. Yeah.
This looks like a really fun deck to run. So if you guys have any Lost Box cards laying around and you don't know what deck to play, I would try this one. It's a more fun version, not as boring, not as linear. But yeah, Douglas, I'm looking at you. I know you're listening. So congratulations to Justin for getting 3rd place, and we're gonna go into our last deck that we're gonna talk about, which is the 4th place, which is what Noah brought. It is the Vikavolt, and it's just the standard Vikavolt deck. I think I think it's a pretty standard Vigavolt deck. I don't think there's too much to talk about here. Oh, he is running one Sky Steel and one Forest Seal. So I guess if he wants to take a knockout with the Raikou V or the Vigavolt on like a Lugia, he has the Sky Steel as well as for the Mew matchup for your Drapion. So
yeah. And, Viewbolt's pretty interesting. I feel like it got especially better since there's so much Lost Box in the meta. Lugia hit gift for weakness, so it definitely got better from several times, which is interesting since it basically got no new card that made it good other than the Seal Stones. That's pretty much like the only new include since like several times came out.
Yeah, this is pretty standard for a Vika deck. There isn't too much to talk about here. I don't know. I don't like Vigavolt, so I do like the Force Switcher deck though. The Force Switcher deck is pretty fun. With the three celebrations Mew to search out to mysterious till out the switchers in your VIP passes early game. But the one Marnie, one Judge for a small amount of hand disruption, you are running the Lumineon, so if you don't get them in the beginning, you can get them later. And then of course the 4 Melanie to get the Donk, or not to get the Donk, to get the Paralyzing Bolt on your one going second, which is super important for a lot of matchups. But yeah. Any last thoughts on Charlottesville before we get? Oh, one more thing. I have to pull this up. My friend Douglas, tweeted or sent me this tweet, and it is someone at the VGC table in a Mandalorian costume. It looks really sick. And I don't know if a lot of you are Star Wars fans, but I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and this is just so. He's just an icon for this. This is so cool. I don't know. What do you have to say about this?
Super cool. I hope I see a lot of people doing this in the future. It's especially if you love it. It's still a super fun time for everyone.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, when I went to San Diego Regionals, my first regional, it's pretty cramped, but this venue looks really open, and it's a regional, but people there to compete, but people are also there to have fun. So yeah, I really hope people maybe start showing up in cosplay more because it does feel like a convention sometimes. They are held in convention centers. There's vendors there to sell stuff, so this is pretty dang cool. I really hope this guy comes to Fresno Regional or something like that. But yeah, cool on the VGC squad to rep some love in terms of what they what they love, and merging Pokemon and Star Wars, pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely super cool to see people share their love. Maybe not even just Pokemon, to share what they generally love to a public space.
Yep. All right, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the Korean regional, which is what you wanted to talk about. So why don't you go ahead and get started?
Yeah. So for the Korean
wait,
regional,
hold on. Where is? Here we go. Sorry, I had the wrong screen pulled up. Go ahead.
yeah, for the Korean regionals, we have the top 32 here, and I don't think it's anything too surprising to see these deck lists or these decks here. Lost Box is number 1, and Lugia is also high. I guess I underestimated Lugia. That post rotation Lugia gets a lot weaker, but I guess I was wrong there, as it's still definitely in like top tier 1. Gardevoir's in there, Mew's in there, Lost Valentina, Arctina. There's an interesting list of Aerodactyl Arceus. That one's super cool.
That probably has Pika in it too.
Yeah, probably like Pika. Probably something like the Arceus box where you just try to counter the meta. So yeah, that's super interesting to see do well, since we don't get to see what specific decks. We know like what the top tier decks are, but we don't generally see what's like the tier 2 and what's like labeled as other in a lot of the other meta tier lists, or like the meta analysis.
Yeah.
There's Miraidon and I'm surprised not more people are playing the Hisuian. I feel like this deck is super good. It's good in our current format and basically loses nothing in post rotation. So I'm surprised not more people like.
All right, I have a quick question. Do you think there's 5 Gardevoirs, like the third most popular deck in the top 30 is Gardevoir? Do you think there's 5 because it's good, or do you think it's just because it's popular? Because I know everyone wants to try Gardevoir, because Gardevoir is sick, and the thought of like accelerating a crap ton of energy is sick. So what is your meta call? Do you think that right now there's 5 out of 32. The third most popular deck is Gardevoir because it's good, or maybe because it's popular. Because I know we've tested against Gardevoir a little bit the past week. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a little both. Gardevoir is a pretty popular deck, especially since there's a lot of people who like the Pokemon, and also a lot of people who played it because it did do super well in like prior tournaments, like in Aichi. So I think a lot of people are copying the list and just trying to like this deck had success, so I'm gonna play it because I want to also win. So yeah, it might just be like a small boost in popularity just because of the win, and like it might settle down to like maybe the fourth like most played fourth, fifth most played decks by in later weeks because although the deck is really strong, I don't think it's as strong as Mew. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think Mew is a little bit stronger. I could see Gardevoir, maybe a Gardevoir reaching top 8 like every regional post row,
yeah,
but
definitely.
most likely is a top 16 deck if you want to bring it to a regional. Again, we haven't tested a whole lot. Our friend Douglas, he has a Gardevoir deck, and he's been trying. We've been trying a whole different variations of the deck. We haven't tried the Klefki version yet. I don't think it's as good. I think it's pretty good again because I'm a control player, but I don't know. Gardevoir, it is sick. It is a sick card, but does it beat out Mew or Lost Zone Tina is the real question. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll have to see later. Again, we're still in pre-release timing of the set. I know Douglas is getting his a case early today, right now, so I'm gonna open some cards with him today. But yeah, I don't think Gardevoir is that strong. It is a strong deck. Don't get me wrong. It is up there. It is tier 2 at least, but I don't think it hangs with Mew.
Yeah, I agree. I think Mew, especially I think the Fusion Strike Mew is really good. Although I'm not
Yeah,
a big fan of playing the deck, I feel like it breaks a lot.
yeah, I
I
know. They played
definitely can
Deoxys,
see
dude. They played Deoxys.
yeah. I just believe the first place list ran the Deoxys too, and I'm not a big fan of it, but it does well. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I can't deny that it's really strong. I'm just not the biggest fan of those
Yep.
card.
And here we have this is the first place, right? This Twitter link.
Yeah,
This is the
this
first
first
place.
place,
It is Lugia,
yeah,
getting
he played
the
it for day one.
W. I love his mat, by the way. This is beautiful. But oh man, Lugia getting the W. What do you have to say?
Yeah. So he played in a lot of these Asian tournaments. They can switch decks between day one and day two, and he chose to play League at day one, and it's like he's just proving me wrong. He played I didn't think Lugia would be that strong, and he took it and he won, and then he also played Mew with Byakuya, so he's just proving me
Yeah.
wrong the entire time.
And
So yeah, he played, yeah.
yeah, so yeah, Lugia was day 1 and then Mew was day 2. Probably the good choice, I think, because I think day 1 you get a lot of weird stuff, and Lugia kind of rules weird stuff. Um, and the Mew for the day 2, yeah, the one horn. For the Lugia deck, what do you have to say about 4 capturing Aroma? Give me your thoughts on that one.
I love this card. I love capturing Aroma. It's after rotation with especially Elo and gone, I've been like just trying to find more ways to see my evolution Pokemon that's not Ultra Ball because they're right in the deck. I'm always struggling to find find the RC's restart in my deck, so I've been just testing everything. And I'm trying to test the capturing aromas right now. Hopefully hits head to get the V star. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, Lugia, the Tyranitar, the single Project Stone Joiner, the Gift Energies. Lugia's still hanging with the top decks, and that's something that a lot of people maybe not don't want to hear, but it's actually cooler. These Lugia decks are actually cool. This is what we want to see. This Lugia running like the Tyranitar and the Silver Strike is like almost similar to running like Arc Pika. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty damn cool. I'm not disappointed honestly about. Okay, I am disappointed Lugia staying, but I'm not disappointed on how it's staying. You know, um, yeah, the Radiant Serena is pretty cool too to kind of keep up some cards if you need to. It's good to fix math with some Pokemon, and yeah, it's good against Lost Box for sure.
Yeah, I definitely like the newer version of like the post rotation version of Lugia. The current one is not very fun to play against. You just get powerful, get V guard to one shot you, do one shot you, and then you finish the game off with a Yveltal. So it's like not
Yeah,
the most fun to play against. Kind of linear gameplay. So like to see that at least there's different attackers in this deck, and yeah, at least you can play a different game plan, like something between matchups, and not just basically force a game plan like 90% of the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, and that's gonna be our original / tournament recap, and we are going into our first segment. First, like I guess, funny segment of the podcast. We're going into the what is he cooking? This is going to be a Pokemon TCG segment where Jeremy and I will present PokemonCard.io lists. For the YouTube viewers, you'll see the list posted on the screen, but for Spotify listeners, we'll try to explain the deck to you as best as possible. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and start with Jeremy's deck. Jeremy, what are you cooking?
I've found this angry whack Regigigas deck with a Tropius in it. So angry whack, if no one knows what it does, it is a 3 energy colorless attack that does 100. This does 10 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon, and it confuses itself. So you combine this with the Tropius, which makes it not be able to get confused. So you can let's have it just attacking 24/7. You just do more damage the more damage you take. So yeah, you just run that combo together. You have a draw
Oh,
engine
you have the
in
memory
barrel.
capsule. I
Yep.
see. So if
You have the
anyone
memory capsule.
listening, the memory capsule is this Pokemon. This card is attached to. You can use any attack from its previous evolution.
Yeah. So you just have a grass energy under Regigigas, either VMAX or V. If you have the memory capsule, you can put it under VMAX. If not, you're probably just attacking with the V. And you just never get confused because you're a Tropius and you're just smacking for a lot of damage. You're tanking hits. You have an energy acceleration with a Leafeon, so with the greening cells, and your draw engines with the Bidoof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just surprised there's no Dunsparce in here. Um, but yeah, this is definitely some hard cooking because I was trying to play Regigigas V-Star and I think the number one thing is Giga Impact during this Pokemon can attack. And I couldn't attacking, but Regigigas has 300 health, so that's like one of the largest. I think it's the largest health pool for a V-Star, right? I think 300 is the largest health pool for the V-Star. Obviously, you can go higher with V-Max or V-Union, but it's a pretty tanky boy. It's a pretty tanky boy. So you're definitely cooking pretty hard with this deck. I don't know if I can top this. But I guess I'll go for it. So the deck I got was the Slack King Destroyer, and this deck is just based on just hitting with Slack King. And what the Slack King V does is if you have exactly 2, 4, or 6 prize cards remaining, this Pokemon cannot attack. So if you at the beginning of the game, it can't even attack, and it's for 4 energies, heavy impact for 260 damage. So if you slap 4 powerful energies on this thing, you're doing 340 damage, which one-shots anything in format. Now, how will you charge this thing up? You might ask. Well, there's this really cool thing called Archeops. But hey, we don't have a Lugia in here. But good thing we have Omastar. And what Omastar does, it's for 1 energy, search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon that evolve from an item card that has Fossil in its name and put them onto your bench. So what you do is you go second, use Omastar to put Arkin on your bench, and then evolve into Archeops, and you use Primal Turbo from Archeops, which is once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 special energy and attach them to one of your Pokemon. The Archeops will then put 4 powerful energy onto the Slack King, and you're hitting 340 damage, and you have Sky Seal Stone to deal with any of those pesky V-Star V-Max matchups, because you are giving up a 2 prizer called Omastar at the beginning of the game, so you need to come back. So, look, I don't know. I don't know how you get an odd number of prize cards, but hey, this deck cooks, all right? 4 bosses for Serena, okay?
You're definitely getting those knockouts.
And honestly, I don't know why he's running 3 Sharon's Cure. I'm pretty sure the Slack King gets one shot by anything in format. So this deck cooks pretty hard, dude.
Hey, I think schoolgirls in there too to draw exactly when there's 2, 4, and 6. You get to draw
More cards.
4 cards. It's 2 pot of greets, broken.
Yeah, so these are the 2 Who Let Him Cook decks. Please leave in the comments below or tag us on Twitter at the Donbozos podcast. Well, who do you think cooked harder? I hope next week we can find some more decks to cook with. But yeah, these are the two decks. It's kind of funny how we both chose two colorless decks. That's kind of interesting. So I'm surprised this deck also doesn't have Dunsparce.
Yeah,
Yo, how come people don't run Dunsparce?
they don't respect the fighting type. It's okay if you fight the fighting type. It's doesn't go next angle. Hopefully you
Yeah,
don't see
go
anyone next
next
one.
angle. All
Yeah.
right. So for our final segment of Pokemon TCG before we get into League of Legends, we're gonna have a YouTube short segment. So Jeremy, you prepared something for me?
Yes, I got you with a rank blindly. So
Ooh,
this
okay,
the theme of this one will be Lost Zone cards.
okay.
The first card I want you rank blindly from 1 to 5 is Cramorant. The
Cramorant. So that's the top left. Okay, Cramorant.
yes, top left.
I'm gonna put that a solid 3. I think it's good. I think it's like you need it in a Lost Box deck, but it's also not like completely broken. So I'm gonna put that number 3.
Ooh, you think there's gonna be better stuff or worse stuff
I
behind it?
think
You
so.
think
I
it's
think
gonna
so.
be
I think
stuff in the
so.
middle?
I think
It's a
so.
pretty good card. All right. The second card is Aerodactyl V Star. Although it's not
Aerodactyl V Star. Ooh, so we just talked about this. I'm gonna put it at number 5. I don't think.
number
I'm gonna
5.
put it at number 5. I don't think it's that good. I think Justin had a good meta call. I think V Star. Well, the thing about Aerodactyl V Star is you can slot it in any deck you want, as long as they have energy. So I'm definitely gonna put it at number 5 in terms for a Lost Box, like for a Lost Box deck.
Oh, it's just Lost Zone cards. It's not a Lost Box deck.
Lost
It's
Zone
a Lost Zone.
cards?
Just Lost Zone cards.
Oh, okay, I messed up.
So,
Anyways, keep going.
okay, so the next card we have is Fantina.
Fantina? All right, let's go to that 4. I like the
Uh,
idea. I've tried it in a Mewtwo V Indian Lost Zone deck, but it's just not worth it for the supporter for the turn.
yeah, I would agree with that one. For number 4, a card that you probably definitely been testing, we have Delphox V.
Delphox V. All right, that's going in at number 2. I'm running out of space. I'm afraid of what number 1's gonna be. I'm afraid it's gonna be trash. But post rotation, Delphox is kind of like the Amazing Red Raikou replacement. I've been testing it in Arceus with Armarouge, which I'll be talking about in a future podcast episode. So yeah, I'm gonna put it at number 2.
All right, for the last card, it is a purple Lost Box Pokemon, but unfortunately it's not complete. It is Banette.
Bidet? Wait, what is wait, what? What does this do? Do I see your turn? You put a photograph discard turn if you do lost in this. You know what? Whatever. It's not that bad. It could be worse. I could have put Aerodactyl number 1. Moving on to League of Legends, we just got our new patch this past week, 13.6. Now we're not going to talk about the whole patch because there are YouTubers and content creators who already commit to that, and it'll take way too long. So instead, we're going to go ahead and just talk about a favorite patch, a favorite thing that they patched or balanced. And this patch is pretty small, not too much because LCS playoffs are happening, and they don't want to touch too much stuff. This is pretty much a content patch. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I think my favorite patch is going to be the Nash's Tooth. I think it's really cool how they added a little bit CDR. So what they did is they increased the total cost by 200, but then we got 15 ability haste, which means that the recipe is Blasting Wand, Recurve Bow, and Fiendish Codex, which is really cool because the recipe used to be Blasting Wand, Recurve Bow, and Amp Tome, and then you have to wait for like 1,000 gold to finish the item. But now with the Codex, it feels nicer because you get that little bit of CDR, so it might be worth building first now for things like Diana and Echo Jungle, even though I've been a big fan of either Protobelt for Echo or Demonic for Diana. What do you think?
Yeah, I also like the changes for Nash's Tooth. It's just it kind of feels bad to build most of the time. You're seeing your first item, your opponent has like has an alternator while you're sitting with a recurve bow. You can clear jungle fast, but like your ganks just feel not as good.
Yeah. And what's your favorite change?
My favorite change would have to be Bloodthirster. Bloodthirster felt too strong. You got too much HP. ADCs were building this and like you built this and like shield bow. You have like 3,000 HP while your frontline tank has like 2,000. It's like I think ADCs didn't need that much health. Didn't need that much durability. So yeah, I'm glad to see Bloodthirster like getting nerfed a bit.
Absolutely. And another thing that's really big about this patch is a new champion. Woo! Yeah. So this champion is Milio, and he is a enchanter support champion, and he has a lot of shielding, a decent amount of healing, and an ultimate that cleanses. I know, Jeremy, you were trying to play him a little bit last night. What are your first thoughts?
Um, my first thoughts, his Q is super fun to play. His Q is like really one of the most fun abilities. It's also super strong early with Scorch and Airy, so you just do a lot of poke damage. You can hit through minions. Yeah. Oh yeah, his ult doesn't cleanse yourself. I didn't, or I thought it would be like Olaf ult. I walked into a Veigar cage yesterday and I kind of got stunned, just standing there like, wait, I can't ult out of this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he seems pretty good though.
I think
I
he's
like
pretty
him.
strong. I'm excited to see him in pro because I want to see how he's played in a pro game in like the LCS or LCK or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, he seems pretty strong, and he's not that hard to play either, which is it's good and bad for the game. So I'm excited to see. I think Shirley's is probably his best mythic. I think I see a lot of people building Winston, but I think the movement speed is pretty damn strong. Because if you put W on someone, they have permanent movement speed from Shirley's.
Yeah. OBC to go in pro play. Maybe you can see Captain Jack cleanses with him on and his teammate. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
pretty damn strong. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the skins, the new skins, the fairy skins. Jeremy, what are your first thoughts on just the first 7 fairy skins?
I think they're pretty nice. I enjoy that they already have a new theme. The little downside is some of them you can't tell which champion they are. I thought the Fairy Core Karina skin was like a Janna. And yeah. Oh, I'm super happy that Kalista got a new skin. Kalista skins are very rare and they all look somewhat similar. So I'm happy to see that she has a different theme for to her skins.
Absolutely, and I like how it's a new skin line introduced. We got a event pass for it, and they're super pretty, and I like the colors. My favorite color is pastel pink, so it's pretty cool. The chromas look nice, and we got a new prestige skin as well since it is an event. Prestige Katarina. What are your thoughts?
Um, it's a nice skin. The problem is that it suffers from a lot of what prestige skins suffer from. They have like the same color wave, and they kind of feel samey after a while since we have so many prestige skins for the past couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah. And my favorite skin to come out this patch, the Ashen Guardian Shen, another addition to the Ashen skin line. It is a mythic skin, so you have to use 125 mythic essence, or 100, I forget. But I really like it, and I don't know why people bash on the skin line a whole lot. I just like the cool, purple. They have new voice lines. The sound effects are awesome. But yeah, I love how Shen got one. I don't play Shen, but I've seen it in game, and it's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I actually like the skin a lot too. I'm surprised people bash on this one. I know people bash the Pantheon one in the past because people just may find that it looked like a purple chroma of one of his other skins. So,
Yeah.
but this Shen skin, he doesn't have a skin that's like this theme, so I'm surprised people are bashing this one. This one looks pretty nice.
Yep. And the chromas look pretty cool as well. And we have one more thing to talk about for League of Legends, and that's going to be the LCS playoffs. We got our first week of LCS playoffs, and it was a doozy. Let's just talk about 100 Thieves first, huh?
Yeah.
Let's get it out of the way. What are your thoughts?
I'm surprised that they did so poorly because they were on the win streak at the end of the season while Golden Guardians were on a lose streak. So I'm surprised that they lost to Golden Guardians here. Not surprised about the FlyQuest part, but surprised
I
about
heard
that one.
in the FlyQuest they just threw a 5K gold lead and they had Ocean Soul, which is just crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
again, not too surprised about the 3 round FlyQuest, but man, dropping 2-3 Golden Guardians, I don't know. They might have to. I don't know how the management is gonna feel because they dropped a lot of money on that roster.
Yeah. A lot of jerseys have to be sold. A lot of these.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Cloud9 against CLG is pretty one sided. Something we can expect in against CLG, losing to Evil Geniuses 3-0. Kind of disappointing because I do like CLG a whole lot, but again, EG is like pure NA talent, and I know you're rooting for Cloud9, so
Yeah. Yeah. I love
upper bracket
Cloud9.
finals is gonna be juicy.
Yeah. Obviously Cloud9 MSI. Or of course that's my favorite team, so I'll always want to see them at any tournament and do well. But I want them, and my second team, I probably want EG to also go to MSI too.
Yeah. I'd be down to send EG. I was down to send Cloud9 for sure, and then EG or Garden Guardians. I feel like FlyQuest is too much import, besides Spica.
Yeah, I feel the same way. They're a good team, but I want to see some NA. Like I just want to see EG, Golden Guardians. Unfortunately, I don't think Golden Guardians are gonna make it, but I would like to see them too. Last time Stixie was MSI, he did really well with COG, so
Yeah.
it would be cool to see them there. But unfortunately, I don't think they are as strong as EG or FlyQuest. So yeah.
All right, we're gonna go ahead, and I'm gonna have you guess the top 5 most picked champions in LCS history. Top 5.
In LCS history,
Yeah.
ooh, LCS history. Let's see. Oh, my first is Azir on there.
Azir is not on there.
Azir's not on there.
Number
Oh,
1 is the
let's see.
support.
Number one's a support. What support is picked so much? I was thinking, it can't. Is Thresh on the list?
Thresh is number 1, 955
Thresh is
games.
on the list. Okay. Thresh hasn't been popular recently, but he has definitely been really good in the past. Or I guess now
Still have
too.
2,
But
3,
for
4,
small
and
patch.
5 remaining.
2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. So Azir is not on the list. Is Orianna on the list?
Orianna's only number 6.
Oh, number 6.
Okay, no, there are
Let's
no mid
see.
laners in the top 5.
There's no mid
No mid
laners.
laners.
Jungle. Let's see. What
Lee
Lee Sin? Is Lee Sin?
Sin is number 5 with 741 games.
Well, number 5. I thought he would be. Oh man. What are junglers
Number
are
2
there?
and number 4 are both jungles, and number 3 is a support. Well, number 2 can be played top and jungle.
Up in jungle. So we have a support. I'll try to get the support. Let's see. Support. Is it
It is a tank support.
Nautilus?
It is not Nautilus.
Is it Leona?
It is not Leona. He has a shield.
Oh, has a shield? Is it Braum?
It
That's the
is
first
Braum.
Braum.
795 games. Number 2 and
Wow.
number 4 are both AP champions. But number 2 is AP in the jungle and tank in the top lane.
Is it Gragas?
It is Gragas, 812
Gragas?
games. And number 4 is the burger flipping king.
Burger flipping king? I just think Elise.
Yes, it is
Elise?
Elise. 743 games. Yeah. So number 6 is Orianna. Lucian is 7. Ezreal is 8. Lulu is 9. And Varus is 10.
I'm surprised there's not that many
There's-
ACs on. I thought
There's
ACs
only
would be higher
one mid laner. There's only one mid laner. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I thought we'd see like Azir Corki or Yana Syndra. We just see a lot of these
Yeah.
like control mages.
Yeah, that was pretty. Yeah, that is something I definitely don't. Yeah, I don't know. All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna go ahead and get into Teamfight Tactics. Not too much to talk about besides that we got 8.5, a new mid set. A lot of people, I haven't heard too great things about it, but we will talk about our new favorite unit and traits. We're gonna go ahead and go to the unit. My favorite unit that they've added is Jin, because I really like how what they do with his four shot mechanic. This time it's 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth one is a piercing shot, and it's super cool. Again, attack speed turns into AD, so it's pretty cool. So attack speed isn't a wasted stat. And what is your favorite unit?
Well, my favorite is Riego, but he's not really a new unit. He feels like a new unit with the Oxford changes and the heart added. But my new favorite unit is probably Nico. I like the Nico Qs, although it's screw me up a lot. She's missing all those Qs, but
Yeah.
it's super fun to watch.
Yep, and my favorite trait is gotta be the recon replacement. I really like quick draw. I really like how it works. If anyone doesn't know, quick draw, basically when a quick draw unit casts their projectile, they cast another one and it does 55% of the damage at trait 1. So it's basically they're double casting, and it's pretty cool because I love carry augments, especially when they're pretty brain dead heavy where you don't have to think a whole lot. So yeah, quick draw. I mean, when the MF with quick draw is super strong right now because you can do MF and then Echo Frontline with Kaisa, and Star Guardian's only a 2 trait, so that's Quick Draw 2, Star Guardian 2, which is like stupid. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Quick Draw.
Yeah, my favorite new trait is probably Riftwalkers. I love the Big Zack. I love that you can share a trait. You can run it with, funnily enough, Jin's not my one favorite units, but you can run it with Jin and Viego. You get 3 Renegade on there. It's just super fun to play with. Big Zack, and you have an extra free frontline.
Yep. And And next, we're going to be going into Valorant, and Valorant has some pretty big things for them. The biggest one, of course, being Gecko, the new agent. He is a initiator. And Jeremy, I know you don't play Valorant too much, but I know you do play it a little bit. So, what are your initial thoughts on Gecko?
Uh, so I don't play Valorant too much, so I'm pretty bad at it. So every time there's a new character, they just seem broken. So he seems pretty good. I like his kit. It's pretty interesting, and I think he is pretty strong. So yeah.
Yeah, I think he's stupid strong. Probably one of the better agents they've released, and it's pretty cool how his wingman can plant and defuse a spike. Although I think people are getting baited by it too much, like just setting the spike to suicide. So yeah, but I think with the pros saying he's pretty strong, I can't wait to see him in high elo play as well as pro play. And yep, uh, and we're gonna be talking about the new hot skin line, Oni 2.0. Jeremy, what are your initial thoughts on Oni 2.0?
Uh, I love the Oni bundle, so I like this bundle. I love the melee too, but the cost is a little too high maybe for me, so I think I'll pass on it. But I think the skin bundle is super nice, especially the melee.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I think the gun sounds super nice, especially the Vandal, and the knife is cool. It is pretty big, but it's not. It's worth picking up if you guys have the money. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's worth picking up. But if you already have skins for the weapons, I say it's not worth picking up because you know, unless you really want the katana, then it's worth picking up the bundle because just buying the katana might not be worth it. But yeah, if
Yeah.
you find it in game, I really recommend picking up the gun and trying to play around with it because it is super fun and it's super cool. So yeah, that's gonna be kind of a quick review for Valorant. There's not too much going on. We don't really watch the esports or follow up on it. So if you guys have any recommendations for what we should talk about for Valorant and TFT, go ahead and leave it in the comments down below. And if you're listening on the Spotify, you can go ahead and at us on Twitter at the Donbozos podcast. So we're gonna go ahead and before we wrap up, talk really quickly about CS2. Been a hot topic recently. Pretty big. CS:GO is like kind of like the go of competitive esports. So the fact that we're getting this CS2 is pretty huge. So what are your first thoughts?
Uh, I'm super excited. Smoke changes are super cool. I'm just happy to play. I just want to play CS:GO again. It's been a while. Yeah, I've played it a lot during high school, but since Valorant came out, we've just been touching on that game more. So haven't been playing too much CS:GO, but happy to get back. The guns are super fun in that game. The guns shoot faster and you can spray. So that's my favorite part.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. CS2, I'm excited to play. I played a lot of it for sure. I hit LEM, that was my peak rank, which is the only reason why I'm somewhat decent at Valorant. I'm excited. I'm excited to just get a group of friends, hop on CS2, and have some fun. And it's pretty similar, just a couple of graphic updates as well as a couple smoke changes. And I'm sure they're gonna add a lot more changes later. And man, that Steam Marketplace, dude, those skins.
Those skins do be going up. Yeah, those skins are gonna get super pricey. A lot of people are gonna join CS2. They already got pricey because of global release like a couple years ago, and they're probably only going up. So yeah.
Absolutely. And that's pretty much going to be it for our first episode of the Donbozos podcast. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to tuning into the pilot episode. You can go ahead and follow us on, or you can go ahead and find us on YouTube and Spotify at the Donbozos podcast, as well as Twitter and Instagram, again, at the Donbozos podcast. I really appreciate everyone coming out. And Jeremy, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I think that's pretty much it. We're on spring break, so we're just chilling for a bit. So, what are you planning to do for the upcoming week?
I got a local to go to tomorrow for Pokemon Standard, and then other than that, pretty much just chilling at back in my hometown. This is the only time you're gonna see me in this room, guys, for the podcast. Maybe up until summer or winter. You'll see me in my normal college room. So yeah, enjoy this scenery. It's pretty bright the windows, but hey, we do what we can, and I appreciate everyone coming out. So Jeremy, what about you? Anything coming up?
Pretty much it. I just got my Scarlet Violet products came in, so like an hour ago. So I'm excited to open those. Yeah.
Nice. All right. I wish everyone luck on the ranked grind for all the games, as well as and if anyone's opening up Scarlet or Violet. And I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the day wherever and whenever they're at. And we'll see you guys next week for another episode of the Donbozos podcast.
Thank you.
Bye.